there is you. And you have a problem. What's your problem? You exist, but you don't know how and why you exist. And you're suffering. So you exist, but you don't know how you exist, why you exist, and you're suffering. That's a problem. And you are in what appears to be a world. And you are sharing this world with what appears to be other sentient beings. It appears as if you are sharing the world with other people who exist. It appears as if you're sharing the world with animals that exist. It appears as if you're sharing the world with chickens that you love eating. You're sharing the world with flies. Probably don't like flies. I've never seen a person that likes flies. Sharing the world with cockroaches. I've never seen a person that likes cockroaches. Must suck to be a cockroach. Sharing the world with dogs. You love dogs. So you exist, but you don't know how and why you exist. Just exist. And you're suffering in what appears to be a world that you are sharing with beings that seem to exist the same way that you do. What you must notice is that it appears as if you're in a world that you are sharing with other beings that are conscious. You don't know. You don't know if you are sharing this world with other beings that are actually conscious. But it appears as if you are sharing the world with other beings that are actually conscious. So, you believed that you are sharing the world with other beings that are conscious, right? You believed that you are in a world and you are sharing this world with other beings that are conscious. You could have believed that you are in what appears to be a world, but it's just a projection of your mind, and other beings are just projections of your mind. You could have believed that you exist and other beings don't exist. You could have believed that and you wouldn't have been wrong. You wouldn't get arrested for believing that. But instead, you believe that, hey, I'm in a world that I'm sharing with other people that also exist. Now, there's nothing wrong with believing that. The reason why I'm telling you that you could have believed that you are in what appears to be a world and you are sharing what appears to be a world with what appears to be other beings that are conscious, but that is not the truth. I'm trying to show you that it is possible to look at reality differently from how you have been looking at it. I'm trying to show you that just because you view reality a certain way doesn't mean that it is the way that you view it. You could have believed that dreams are real. I mean, you dream, right? But you believe that your brain is creating your dreams. Like, yeah, it has to do with what I experienced during the day, the kind of food that I ate, how I slept, where I slept, how I feel. And yeah, so the brain tried to I don't know. I don't even know what they say dreams are really, or why we dream, But yeah, they probably have an explanation for that. Like, your brain is just doing something. Maybe your brain is just trying to rest, and as it rests, it has to somehow create dreams that just don't make sense because it's actually resting. You could have believed that every time when you sleep and you dream, you actually experience reality, or you believe that you're not experiencing reality when you're sleeping. But why do you believe that you're not experiencing reality when you're sleeping? And why do you believe that you're experiencing reality right now? What you'll notice is that it's you who actually have the final authority. You wouldn't be wrong to think that this is a dream. You wouldn't be wrong to think that this is not a dream. It's you who have the final authority. Why is it you who have the final authority? It's you who have the final authority because, well, there isn't any other being that actually claim that they have the final authority. Like, that's very important. Like, you need to be as real as possible. You see, if you are really serious about truly waking up, truly seeing things as they are, you need to be as honest as possible. One of the biggest mistakes that most people make is that they get attached to a certain way of viewing things. And then they view things that way. Not because the way that they viewing things is actually accurate, but because they're just attached. Like, it has to do with what makes them feel better. If it makes them feel better to believe that there is a God who's all-knowing, who's powerful, who's eternal, who decided to create planets, stars, created the moon, created the earth, created all life. They believe that because that makes them feel good, not because it makes more sense to believe that than to not believe that, right? And people believe that all of this happened by accident. we just evolved into what we are today, that makes them feel good. They've been studying evolution forever. Some people are actually making money teaching people about evolution. So they are so attached to evolution being true that they are not open to seeing things in a different way. Some people believe that we were created by aliens, the Anunnakis. They've been studying that their whole lives. Yeah, even the Bible says that we're created by aliens. They're attached to that being true. What you must notice is that you have the final authority. It's not another person that should actually tell you what this is. It's you who have to decide what this is. And you can never be wrong because, well, no one has really told you what this is. So how can you be wrong? If you say it's a dream, how can you be wrong? Was it explained to you what this is? Nope. If you want to believe in God, hey. If you want to believe in evolution, you can never be wrong because no one really told you what this is. And it's you who actually has to tell yourself what this is. But the mistake that I see people making is that they make assumptions about reality and then they get attached to these assumptions. And I think that's a mistake. Yes, it is true that you have the final authority. It is true that you are the one who actually decide what this is because, well, you can believe anything, really, if you think about it. You can believe anything if you really think about it. You can believe what makes the most sense, what will make the most sense to any human. If you can have a conversation with any human, what you'd say will actually make more sense than what they will say. You can believe that. Not because it's true. I've had conversations with people about solipsism. Like, yeah, I don't believe I'm the only conscious being in the universe. And I'll be like, I'm not really saying you are. I'm saying that's what makes complete sense, right? Like, if you try to understand yourself, what you really are, and you try to understand the world, you do all kinds of thought experiments, actually that's what makes sense to believe. It is possible to believe something that makes sense and you find out that it isn't the truth. We do live in a world that is upside down. We do live in a world where if you speak honestly, people might start to hate you. We do live in a world where truth isn't appreciated, where things are just upside down. Things don't seem to work the way that we expect them to work. Everything is upside down. So yes, it is possible for something to make sense and not be true. I want you to understand that. So it's up to you what you want to believe. You want to believe that we were created by aliens? You want to believe that the Big Bang happened and that's why you're here? You want to believe that you're created by God? But if you want to believe that you were created by God, you also have to ask yourself, who created God? And what created God? See the problem? You're just going to keep on pushing the question further. So let's say in our lifetime we do find out that there is a God, but we also find out that God was created. by something else, then we'd still need to keep going. What created God? We want to believe in the Big Bang. What caused the Big Bang? I mean, so the Big Bang happened and now we exist. We are conscious. We can reproduce. We can speak. We can feel. We have desires. We can create artificial intelligence. Wow. All of that happened because of the Big Bang. That's insane, right? And believe that we're created by aliens. But where are they? Where are they now? Why are they not coming back? I mean, we have evolved, right? Look at what we are able to do now, you know. Shouldn't they be impressed with their work and, you know, try to come back and see how they can help? Because we are not doing very well right now, but still we exist. So that means that their project is successful. But what makes the most sense to believe? So let's forget everything that we think we know. Because there isn't anything that you can say that you know other than the fact that you exist, if you need to be as honest as possible with yourself. So let's forget everything that we think we know and focus on this fact alone. You exist, right? You exist. You don't know how you exist, why you exist. You don't know if you were created, right? And if you were, you don't know why you were created. But right now, all you know is that you exist. You don't know how you exist, why you exist. So that means that what is true now is that you exist, right? That's not an assumption. You're not assuming that you exist. You know beyond any doubt in your mind that you exist. In fact, you being able to know that you exist is proof that you exist. I think, therefore I am. You being able to think is proof that you are conscious. You exist. That is what is true. You don't know if you can ever stop existing. You can assume that you can stop existing at some point. You can assume that you will die one day and you won't exist anymore. That's an assumption. That is not something that you know. That is an assumption. You don't know what really happens after you die. You don't even know if you actually die. What if you never die in your own experience? What if you never experience death? What if what happens is it's similar to what happens when you're dreaming? Like when you die, you wake up. So you think you don't think you died. You don't think you died. You just woke up. You're like, yeah. I was having a dream where this and that was happening, and then I woke up. You don't think you died in that reality. What if you never experienced death? What if when you die, you find yourself in a parallel reality? So if something happens that actually kills you, you actually create a reality where it didn't. Right? So for an example, you get hit by a car. You create a reality where you didn't get hit by a car. The car missed you. So you don't know that you actually did die. You never experienced death. So it's other people who know that you have died, but you yourself never experienced death. You just find yourself in a parallel reality. What if That's how it happened. I'm just trying to show you that it's possible that you might be eternal. So you being attached to the idea that one day all of this will be over, it's an attachment to an idea, right? It is not like you know that one day you're gonna stop existing. It's just you being attached to that idea. So all you know is that you exist. How do you live your life? In a world where the only thing that you can know is that you exist. How do you live your life honestly without being attached to anything, if the only thing that you can know, if the only existence that you can be sure of is the existence of your own mind? The reason why I'm asking this question is because I know that as humans we suffer a lot because of these attachments, right? Attachments to ideas, attachments to religion, attachment to history, attachment to how things appear to be, attachment to a certain way of thinking, a certain paradigm. We suffer a lot because of that. We don't realize that we are attached to these things because we have made assumptions about these things. It is not like these things are actually true, or we know that these things are true. We have just made assumptions and then started taking these things as true. That would be like if you are in a relationship with someone and you get the feeling that they might be cheating, and you try to imagine them cheating on you. You create it then in your own mind, and you start to feel as if that is true, that the person has cheated on you, and you start to see evidence of that being true. Maybe when you call them, they don't pick up the phone anymore. You're like, what's going on? Why didn't you not pick up the phone? Maybe they don't talk to you anymore. You're like, okay, what's going on? Maybe they don't have sex with you anymore. You're like, okay, what's going on? Because me and you used to have sex at least twice a week, so what's going on? So you tell yourself that they're cheating, but that is an assumption. That wouldn't mean that it is not true, but you must also be aware that that is an assumption, that you do not know that they are cheating. You are assuming that they are cheating. So the mistake that you are making is that you are taking your assumptions as truth. That's the problem. You become a Christian and you take Christianity as true. Like, yeah, that's the truth. There's no other truth. Just follow Jesus. That's it. What if Christianity is not true? Will you not suffer because you believe Christianity is true, and cause suffering because you believe that Christianity is true? I know people who have caused suffering because they believe that Christianity is true. I know parents who have mistreated their children because of Christianity. Like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't say that, you can't listen to that kind of music in this house. You can't listen to hip hop in this house. You know, that's devil's music. But you don't realize that what you're doing is harmful, right? You're like, hey, I'm a Christian. Therefore, I must be pure, and I must make my children Christians. So if they're listening to rap music, they cannot be Christian. That's devil's music. I've seen videos on YouTube of people saying that, yeah, hip hop is devil's music. Talking about the Illuminati hand signs and all that. So now I must tell my children to stop listening to this kind of music. And if they listen to this kind of music, I'm going to punish them somehow. Because, well, I'm the man of the house. Or I'm their mother. So, well, they gotta listen to me. I think the theory of evolution is true. You find yourself bullying people who are religious. Because you think the theory of evolution is true. Not because you know that it's true, you assume that it's true because just because something makes sense in some ways doesn't mean that it's true. You've watched movies where things seem to have been happening a certain way, but they weren't happening that way. I've watched movies like that. It gets revealed to you in the end that no, that's not what was actually happening, right? So just because things appear to be a certain way doesn't mean that they are that way. It just means that they appear to be a certain way. So why are you attached to reality being a certain way? This is a very important question. I've had conversations with a lot of people, and they will tell me with absolute certainty that what they believe reality to be is what it is. Like, no, you're assuming that it is what you think it is, but what if it's not? Because that's not something that you know for sure. It's an assumption. What if it's not? The example that I gave you, let's say you suspect that your partner is cheating, and you take that as truth. You're like, yeah, they're cheating. And then you start to mistreat them because you think that that is true. So you suspect that your partner is cheating, and you start to mistreat them because you think that they are cheating. Or you leave them because you think that they are cheating. Or you love them less because you assume that they are cheating. Or you cheat because you assume that your partner is cheating. But you just assume that they are cheating. You don't know that they are cheating. It's an assumption. We are mistreating one another as people because of our assumptions. We are hating ourselves as people because of our assumptions, not because of what we know for sure. The most logical way to look at life is to look at life from a solipsistic position. I exist and that's all that I know. Not that other people don't exist. You shouldn't even take that step. I exist and that's all that I know. That's the truth. If you start to do some thought experiment, you'd realize that it does make sense to also think that you are the only conscious being in existence, but you will have to take a leap of faith, right? You would have to make some assumptions, but believing that doesn't take a lot of assumptions, right? You don't have to make a lot of assumptions to believe that. But to believe everything else that people believe, you would have to make a lot of assumptions. That's what you must realize. To believe what other people believe, you have to make a lot of assumptions. So what is true and that you know is true is that you exist. That's it. So you can actually live your life without making any assumption. You know that this is possible, and that can actually make you suffer less. Right? The truth is, life is suffering. I have not found a way to truly detach myself from suffering. I've always suffered, but I've realized that it's all in the mind. But I do not know if there's a way of viewing life that doesn't come with suffering, right? But I do think that there's a way of viewing life that comes with less suffering. I'm saying, if you only acknowledge your existence as true because, well, that's what you know for sure, and you keep an open mind about everything else, you become an agnostic. Then maybe you'll feel better. Maybe you'll feel better. Because you suffer a lot when you give your power away. Imagine yourself walking in the street and you hear a dog barking. Let's say you were capable of hearing its thoughts, and you hear it saying something like, yeah, you should never pass in this street again, you piece of shit. This is my territory, you know. Look at you. Look at what you're wearing. You look like you're homeless. Like, how will that make you feel? Will it make you feel bad? Will it make you feel good? Will you not even care? Do you just be like, well, it's just a dog. Who cares? I'd say most people wouldn't care. It's just a dog. They understand that a dog is operating at a low level of consciousness. I mean, that's how things appear to be. You know, dogs are operating at a low level of consciousness. Human beings are conscious. So, of course, an animal that's operating at a low level of consciousness cannot be more than what it is. But if a human started saying those things, you'll be angry, right? If a human started saying futsek, like futsek is a very offensive word in South Africa. If you say futsek to someone, like they'll become angry, but it does sound offensive, right? If I say futsek, like that, the word itself sounds offensive. So if a person just say futsek when they saw you, you become offended, even if they're not saying anything else, because it's a person. So if they started to say, yeah, look at how you're dressed, yeah, you're ugly, you're this and that, and you should never, come to the street again, you'll be angry because you have given a human more power than you have given a dog. You see, the problem is that you are giving beings that you don't even know exist power. So you suffer because of that. You suffer because of their opinions. When they tell you that you're not good enough, you suffer. When they cheat on you, you suffer. When they choose other people over you, you suffer. When they say ignorant shit, you suffer. But how do you even know they exist? What, isn't it, ain't you assuming that they exist? And you're treating your assumptions as fact? And you suffer a lot because of that? You see, once you make assumptions, you are giving your power away. Once you make assumptions, you are giving your power away, and you can be manipulated very easily. You can easily be misled. You can easily believe nonsense once you give your power away. That's why I've been talking about protecting your energy. That's super important. You can judge people for having dreadlocks because you're a Christian and you feel like a saint. Because, well, Christianity really, like when you think deeply about it, like it's just a religion that judges people for thinking outside the box, for being creative, you know, for having tattoos. Like, if you think outside the box, Christianity is gonna condemn you somehow. Ever realized that? Oh, you have dreadlocks. Oh, you do this. That's a devil sign. Oh, you speak in this language. Wow. I mean, they can judge you for speaking with an American accent. Like, dude, I didn't go to a private school. I grew up in a village. I taught myself English. So I cannot speak like South Africans. Yeah, I mean, like, I taught myself English. And how did I teach myself English? Watching American movies, listening to, you know, black stand-up comedians, listening to hip-hop. So, of course, I cannot sound like you. Doesn't mean that I'm imitating Americans, you know. People can judge you for speaking with an American accent, like, oh, that's a nigger. You know, niggas are niggas. Shouldn't even say that on YouTube. These bots might pick that up and be like, yeah, you violated one of our community guidelines. Sucks. Like, dude, I'm just making an example. People with tattoos are bad because of the assumption that you've made. You end up believing that. You cause suffering for yourself and for other people. I know Christians who feel like saints. I feel like they're good. They blame other people for anything, really. There's this Christian lady, she's a famous TikToker. She likes to talk bad about women who wear wigs, makeup, and I'm not, like, me personally, I'm not attracted to women who wear makeup. Like I'm naturally not attracted. Like, I don't know why. Like, I'm actually more attracted to women who just seem very natural. Like I can't even explain. But let me. Like, this lady, she talks bad about women who wear makeup. Like, yeah, you don't have confidence. You see, and you're like, well, they're just doing what makes them happy at the end of the day, you know. Like, she's a Christian lady. She feels like she's pure because she's all natural. But she doesn't realize that she's being a devil by judging the people who, you know, wear makeup for their own personal reasons. It might not even be because they are not comfortable in their own skin, but they just want to be creative, you know. That does happen. You know, it's not like people have tattoos because they are uncomfortable in their own skin. It's like, yeah, I can have a tattoo. Why not? If I can have a tattoo. If I can wear a wig, why not? It's creativity. We as humans, we are creative. We can do that. So if we can do that, why not if I want to do that? Isn't that confidence? Even though I know that I'm going to be judged. Like she like some things require a very high level of consciousness. Like she doesn't understand that she herself is being bird, and a person can actually use what she's saying against her. A person can say, yeah, you're not confident actually because you are afraid to step outside the box and try new things. Yeah, you can actually use their own argument against her easily. But yeah, Christianity makes people very judgmental. They'll judge you for anything, bruh. For using certain words. Yo, you can't use that word. No, you can't wear that t-shirt. You know what that sign means in the t-shirt? Like, dude. So it would be best to detach yourself from all assumptions, right? Ask yourself, what do I know for sure and what am I pretending to know? What do I know and what am I pretending to know? What is it that I'm pretending is true that I do not know is true? You'd find peace. You'd realize that the only thing that you know is that you exist, and that's it. Everything else is an assumption. You don't know if you're not dreaming. You don't know if you're not the only conscious being in the universe. You don't know if you're not in a simulation. When you think more rationally, it might actually make sense to believe that you are in a dream because you have had dreams before and you do know that dreams seem real when you are in them. It's only after you've woken up that they don't seem real, and the only other world that you've been in is a dream world, that you remember being in. So if there's already proof that you can be in a world that was created by your mind, but that you don't realize was created by your mind when you are in it, if there's already proof, it's also possible that this world itself could just be a creation of your mind. You just don't know yet because you've never woken up from this. And what's gonna happen is that wherever you would wake up, you'd feel the same. You feel exactly how you're feeling now. You're like, okay, yeah, that was a dream, but damn, that was so damn convincing. But now this is real. This is a real reality until you wake up. And you're like, that was a dream. That was too convincing. Okay, but this is a real reality, and then you wake up. Because of your attachment, right? The problem is that with this attachment, you assume that you assume certain things to be true, and then you become attached to these things being true. I know that's how dreams keep on fooling you. You see a car, you're like, yeah, this is a real car. It was created. Who created it? Oh shit! It was created by Exhibit. Okay, it was created by you create this narrative, not even realize that you are creating a narrative. You're creating a storyline that didn't exist before you created, so you're literally creating it in real time. It's crazy how consciousness creates reality in your dream. That's crazy, man. It's crazy. It creates reality in your dreams in the weirdest way. Once you start asking questions, you're going to find answers to the questions that you're asking for. And these answers are going to make sense, and you think that these answers were there the whole time without realizing that consciousness literally created those answers for you. So these answers didn't exist until you asked questions. So consciousness had to find answers for you. If you're in a dream and you ask yourself, what created me? If it's a dream where the rules or the laws of physics actually allow you to know what created you, you will know what created you. You probably meet what created you. But it won't really be what created you. It will just be consciousness making shit up to convince you that you're not dreaming. So people thinking that this is not a dream just because it seems so convincing is weird, because you know that dreams seem so convincing. You know, that they have to seem convincing. So if this seems convincing, it could mean that it's a successful dream. That's why it seems so damn convincing, because yes, it really does seem convincing. It really does seem convincing. But if you can learn to detach yourself from the assumptions that you've made, if you can learn to detach yourself from the assumptions that you've made about reality, and only focus on what you know to be true, and that's it. No interpretation of anything, because you just be making assumptions. You just be like, it is what it is, I exist. This is the nonsense that I'm seeing right now, and that's it. I do not know why this is happening. I do not know how to make it stop. I do not know if I can stop it. That's the truth. So let's keep on trying to figure out what we need to be doing. Maybe it's possible to stop it. Maybe it's possible to change things. Maybe it's possible to have a more enjoyable experience. Maybe that is possible. You know, maybe it's possible to live in a world that is not upside down. You know, I don't know if it's possible, but maybe it is. So you start living your life without making assumptions. You can start today. Like, fuck all the assumptions that I've made in the past. Now I'm just gonna live. Like, I don't know anything. I do not know why there's trees. I do not know what dogs really are. I do not know what Benedictine is. It's probably not human. I do not know if Benedictine is self-aware. Maybe it's just a projection of my mind. Maybe I'm just in a dream and I'm dreaming that I'm watching some dude from Africa called Benedictine telling me what he's telling me. Maybe it's just a non-player character and I'm in a simulation. Maybe we're all non-player characters in a simulation, like in Westworld, like what happened in West. Like if you watch the series Westworld, like there are people who come into this reality who actually can do things that we cannot do. You know, we are very limited, and they can do whatever they want to us, but we can't do what we want to them. See? So just keep an open mind. It is what it is. Like you can never go wrong, because how do you go wrong if you're not making assumptions? You know, it's reality itself is it's yours. It's you who has to decide what makes the most sense at the end of the day. So you can never really go wrong, especially if you only focus on what you know than the assumptions that you're making. Like that is not wrong. That is why these religions don't make sense, bro. Like, think about it. this is the most logical way to think, that I exist and that's it. That's all that I know. I do not know if there's a God that exists, but then they will tell you that you burn in hell for not believing that there's a God that exists. You'll be like, dude, like that makes zero sense. Like even if those religions were true, that still makes zero sense. Like that's unexplainable. Like that's like if you were to say that people are going to be tortured by whatever created this if they don't believe in it, like that wouldn't mean that it's good at all. Like it's just nonsense when you really think about it. But yeah, all you can know is that you exist. So make no assumptions. Forget about the people who have hurt you. Forget about the reasons why they've hurt you. You're like, yeah, they've hurt me because, well, no one likes me, no one, like, chill. Forget all these assumptions. These are just assumptions. Doesn't mean that it's true. You can be angry because that's how you feel. You just feel like people just hate you. You just feel like you're not good enough. So you blame yourself. All that. These are just assumptions, and you are being hurt by these assumptions. It doesn't mean that these assumptions are based on truth. It's just what you're assuming to be true, and sometimes you're assuming that to be true because you feel a lot of pain when you think that. So you confuse you feeling pain with what the truth is. You see, just like I've been telling you that what makes this real actually is suffering. Like suffering actually makes this real because we take it seriously when we're suffering. So let's say something bad happens and you tell yourself that it happened because, let's say you like when you think about what has happened, you feel pain when you create a certain narrative and you start to believe that narrative. You see, like that's going to be the most dominant narrative. That's what you're going to believe, but it doesn't mean that it's the truth. It's just what hurts you the most. So detach yourself from all the assumptions that you've made. You will actually feel like you are removing something, because here's the thing, you have made a lot of assumptions about this reality, bro, like that you are actually in a prison, like that you yourself have created. I'm talking about the cosmic prison that you're probably in. I'm talking about a prison that you literally have created yourself, because there's a difference between like this cosmic prison that you are in and the prison that you have created for yourself. So the prison that you've created for yourself is a prison that is made of the assumptions that you've been making. Like that's the problem. Like you've made a lot of assumptions and you take these assumptions to be true. So there needs to be intellectual honesty, and you realize that you have made a lot of assumptions and you have suffered because of these assumptions. Even in your own life, like you have made assumptions that weren't true, that later proved to yourself that weren't true, but you've suffered because of these assumptions, right? I know that you have. I know that I have made assumptions that weren't true, and then I was able to prove to myself that, yeah, I was wrong. It was just an assumption, and it happens more like when these assumptions hurt you. These assumptions that you make hurt you. These are the assumptions that you take seriously. So there needs to be intellectual honesty. The more honest you are with yourself, the better. The more honest you are about what you know, the better. The more honest you are about what you don't know, the better. You see? So yeah, we got it all wrong, actually. Like we've been thinking wrong about existence. We've been thinking wrong about life. It takes a lot of intellectual honesty to wake up, to see things as they really are. You exist. Only you can be sure of your existence, and that is the final Truth. Thank you all for watching until the end. Like the video if you haven't liked the video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and let's keep on moving forward. Let's keep on telling YouTube that this kind of content is important. And we'll keep on growing. Thank you all, guys.